Good morning, everyone. Coming up very shortly, we're going to have an annual event taking place out at the Scotts Bluff County Fairgrounds. It's the 75th Scotts Bluff Kennel Club Dog Show that's taking place. It's all breed dog shows, obedience trials, and rally trials. And I have Suzanne Lilja-Kingma with me to talk a little bit about the event coming up, starting up March 29th.
Right, and you probably heard me in the past. I'm usually the spokesperson for the show. So, good morning.
So, this is something that's happened, obviously, for quite a while.
Yes, it has. And we were surprised that we had made it to our 75th show. It just seems like we were just celebrating our 50th show, and we were also celebrating our very first show, which was 2 rings over by the old 4-H Quonset, with 1 set of bleachers set up and 2 rings.
And my, how things have changed and expanded. How many rings are there now that are there?
There's 5 breed rings, 1 obedience, and 1 rally ring.
So you've got 7
rings.
Separate rings now. Of course, that means there's a lot going on all the time.
Right.
During all 3 days. How does somebody pick what they want to watch?
Well, that's one thing that they can go to, because the judging program will be up on our superintendent's website. And you can go to closed show, scroll down to Scotts Bluff, and then get the judging program. And it'll show you what time certain breeds are being showed in what ring. And
that website is www.onofrio.com. onofrio.com. So you can go there and find out when perhaps your favorite breeds will be showing. Is there any specific order that they tend to go through? You know, small breeds, working group, etc.
Because they've got the rings going on at all time, each day. And I do want to bring out that you will see the same dogs competing all 3 days, but they are each competing in a show. Friday is one show, Saturday is another show, and Sunday is a different show.
Yes, and so there's going to be activity all three days, all 7 rings.
Right.
Of course, it's changed a little bit over the years. I can imagine, certainly from the start when it's a couple of rings.
Right.
and maybe not quite so as many breeds. Do we have any new breeds that have been added this year?
We have some new breeds. Offhand, I don't know what they are.
Okay.
We will have some dogs that were at the National Dog Show and also at Westminster competing for Best in Show here. Wow,
that's pretty neat. Now, how many entries do we have taking part in this over the course?
We have an average over 650 entries. I think Saturday is our biggest entry, which is almost 700.
Wow, that is a lot of dogs. So the fairgrounds will be going to the dogs definitely over the course of those 3 days. And of course, this is something that you can come out and watch for free. There is a little bit of a cost to park a vehicle, though.
Right, and that's a whole carload. We're just charging $3 per vehicle. So,
but to go into the event and to be around the animals and to watch them strut their stuff out on the rings, there's no charge for that.
No, there isn't. And they can go through the reserve grooming area. We have one set up in the Morton building and one set up in the new exhibit building, and they can walk through the reserve grooming area or the grooming area and talk to the exhibitors that are preparing the different breeds for the show ring.
Yeah, you'd have to have some extra space to be able to have that many dogs around at any one time and have them be going through grooming and everything else.
That's correct.
You have to have some extra space for that. Of course, there's a whole lot more to the show that we'll talk about when we come back on News Extra in just a moment. And we're back on News Extra this morning. I have Suzanne Lilja-Kingma, who is the representative for the Scotts Bluff Kennel Club, the publicity chair, if you will, talking about the 75th annual
75th
show for the Scotts Bluff Kennel Club coming up March 29th through the 31st out at the Scotts Bluff County Fairgrounds. all dog breeds, and looking through the list, there is a lot of them.
Yes, there is.
As well as obedience and rally trials. Is there any one? I don't want to say breed necessarily, but is there any one event or type of event during the course that tends to grab more people's attention than any other one?
You know, the rally, I think, really has a lot of spectators watching it because it's a fun event. It's a more relaxed. It's not as structured as the obedience part, but there's a lot of people that are watching confirmation, and of course, later in the afternoon when they start doing groups, why, then there's response there.
Yeah, and of course, this is not just, you'll see a lot of adult handlers and people with their animals,
Right.
Whether they own them or not. Sometimes you have a handler that handles the dog,
Right,
separately
we do.
compared to the owner. But then you also have the junior showmanship, which runs all 3 days, but on Saturdays is kind of a special day.
Well, on Saturdays is when we award the scholarship to the best junior handler and the reserve junior handler. And the best junior handler is awarded a $750 scholarship, which they aren't given it at the time, but when they go into school, into a college, training, or a trade, or whatever education, they get awarded the scholarship. And then I think the reserve junior handler is $350.
Yeah, that's a nice little scholarship that's available
Right.
for those that come out on top in the judging of that. Now, obviously, we've had the Westminster and the big shows back
Right.
east already. Does this qualify anybody to go on to like next year, or how does that work? Is there kind of a funnel that goes to those big shows like that?
There is. In fact, we possibly could have some of the dogs that competed at the National Dog Show and at Westminster, because we had some local dogs at Westminster also.
Yeah,
So they could be competing here too.
that's really kind of a neat situation with that. If you do go there during the course of that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it is a free event to attend, $3 per carload of folks. But there's also going to be some vendors around that
Yes.
people can take advantage of if
We
they
will
see
have
them.
food vendors there. There's going to be 3 food vendors, and Daily Grind, Chubby's Barbecue, and Dunkin' Barbecue. And there's going to be a variety of things offered for that. But we're also going to have vendors for the dog show supplies and things like that. We have one vendor that's coming in that's new for us from New Mexico, and he's a clipper blade sharpener and scissor sharpener.
Wow.
And so if you've had some dull scissors around and you need them sharpened, that's the time to bring
That's
them
time to get them done and taken care of, definitely. Now, are there any? You said that the grooming areas are open to people
Right.
to mill around, but certainly there is some decorum for people to, as they move through these areas and see these animals. There's some
There's
rules,
some protocol, yes.
that people need to follow. Correct?
Right. First of all, don't pet the dogs if they're up on the grooming table. Ask permission to take a picture or to pet the dog, because some of these dogs are being prepped and they don't want their hair messed up or something like that. And you should ask out of respect to take a picture of those dogs. And if somebody's getting ready to go into the ring and they don't have time to talk to you about that breed, ask them if, after you're through showing, would it be convenient to talk to you about this breed? I'm interested in getting it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I know some people are very, very persnickety perhaps about what their dogs may or may not have contact with other folks and pictures and stuff, and flash photography. Of course, you want to be
Exactly.
cognizant of that because there may be a dog or a breed that might not
Respond well
might
with
not
that.
respond as well with that.
and this follows through in the showing area also. And I do want to specify that this show is not open to all dogs. It is only open to entered dogs. So you can't bring your Fido pet up it.
Yep, unfortunately, but you can likely find something for your Fido pet from one of the vendors that are going to be there. So that's going to be at like 650, close to 700 dogs every day going through these 5 show rings plus the 2 rings for obedience and the rally trials. That is the 75th Scotts Bluff Kennel Club show for all breed dogs, and the obedience trials, the rally trials, coming up March 29th through the 31st.
That's correct.
Free to attend, just $3 for per carload for parking.
And I do want to say, judging will not start until 9 o'clock on Friday and at 8 o'clock Saturday and Sunday.
So it'll take a little while for you to know who or if your favorite dog has been picked. And as far as best in show, when does that happen?
Usually the groups start around 1:30, 2 o'clock. So then they go through the 7 groups, and when they're all done, then they start for best in show.
Yeah, a little bit later in the day on each of the days when the judging is taking place. Suzanne, thank you very much for joining us today on News Extra.
And if they have any questions, they can contact me at 632-4271.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks.